Hey guys, this is one of the most important videos that I have made, so please pay close attention, okay? It is very important to have some immunity towards shock in life. Now, this shock that we go through in life can happen to everybody. Now, whether it is losing a close one in life because they died, or you might finally one day know that the government has been cheating you and hiding certain important truths, like maybe aliens exist and they were just hiding some UFO and stuff, and you were really disappointed that you were being cheated. Or it can be some big role model that you really admire, a very famous person, but you find out that they're all bad people and doing bad to the world and people. These are all shocking news and shocking things. And whether it's personal or whether it's like pretty open and public and that concerns everybody on the planet, it is always important for us to be immune to shocks in life. So always prevent and be ready. It doesn't mean that we always have to be in an alert zone. That will be stressful, but to naturally have a sense of flow in life and have this certain immunity and be open to receiving shocks in life without being too affected by it. Okay. Now, whatever shock that we go through in life means that before the shock, we were living a life that was twisted from the reality, twisted from the truth. And this shock, life throws light on this truth, and this revelation comes to you, and it's so uncomfortable to face it. That is what you experience as the shock. Now, there are three things that directly influence the shock. I'm going to share these, and it's very important. Okay, the first thing that influences the shock is a forgetfulness of a certain fundamental truth in life. You're not always consciously remembering that truth. You know it, but you've forgotten it. It's not that you're in constant remembrance of that truth in life and you're acting based on the remembrance of that fact. The best example I can give is death. You and I, all of us, are going to stop breathing at one point of time in our lives. But imagine if I tell you that is 1 month from now, because you have cancer. Imagine. And you might feel a lot of shock in life because I have plans, like I haven't experienced life. And I'm going to die. And whether it is the death that comes to us or whether it is death that comes to another person who's very close to us, or we lose a person because we got separated, whatever it is, that we are forgetting of certain fundamental principles and like truth in life, that we're going to die, that life is uncertain, everything's not written in stone. Though we know this, though we know that we're going to die, but when it happens to us or to our closed ones, we feel a lot of shock. You see what I mean? So the first reason is that, not in any order, but one reason, one out of three reasons, is that forgetfulness of an important truth in life. And the second thing is ignorance of a fundamental truth in life, not forgetfulness. Now you're ignorant of it. You don't know. Like, for example, you always thought that a person that you really like, it might be a very influential person in society, it can be a politician, it can be an actor or whatever, business person, but you found out that that person really is actually damaging in many ways, damaging people and their mind in many ways. And this is an ignorance of the fact. An ignorance, not forgetfulness. This is just a vague example. So when we are ignorant of certain truths in life, then when that really comes, we experience shock. Another example is it's a more personal thing. Like, even till today, scientists are debating whether our true identity is our body or we have a soul. A lot of people believe in the soul, And there are still a lot of people who believe that we are just the body. There is nothing called the soul. Like, we don't have bodies, we are bodies. So this can be shocking to you when you come to realize that there is a higher truth to yourself, and you will have to let go of a certain past belief which was driving your lifestyle and routines and habits. It can be a more personal thing here, and you might face panic attacks and depression and so on. But these are nothing but the revelation of certain truth that we were either forgetful of or we were ignorant of. In one way, it is actually good that now we know something, and there is a very important lesson that is hiding behind all the pain that we're going through, which is what is the purpose of the shock that comes to us. This is very important to keep in mind. Now let's come to the third influence shock, which is other people's shock. Other people's shock affects you and you get shocked. Now, if your friends are afraid of exams, they have exam fear, chances are that you will be influenced by that fear. If you observe your friends, your parents and relatives reacting to the death of somebody in a certain way, they're really shocked and all that, then that conveys to you that death is something to be afraid of. The death is something that is like shock, that gives shock, and it's uncertain stuff. So this you just observe from other people. Another practical example is that we saw a lot of people showing concern that they are feeling a lot of depression or because of the COVID first wave, second wave. They watch a lot of news, a lot of people dying, and a lot of changes happening, and all this comes as a shock. And when you see all of that, that just directly affects you. So shocks from other people directly affects you, and if you are not fixed, or if you are not steady in truth, in reality, you will be easily influenced by fear through the fear of other people, because other people are also mostly forgetful of the truth. They're also ignorant of the truth or reality, and there's a collective fear. We all spreading fear, we're forwarding stuff and just spreading fear and stuff. So this is very important because it really is an intrinsic quality from within us, that we are uncomfortable and afraid of certain things that we are not familiar about. This fear, whatever fear that we go through in life, is just simply an unfamiliarity with something that we have not confronted with, something that is profound yet we have not yet realized in life. And the only way that can actually come to us and give us that realization is through a turbulent shock, the temporarily that we go through in life. The whole point of me making this video is to make it not as turbulent as it generally is, because I want to end this video by sharing the nature of truth. That the truth generally hits us hard, and when it does, we will probably be unprepared to bear its effect on us, because we are too identified with a totally different reality, a totally different perspective towards world. And it's interesting and important to notice that our mind finds many ways to secure our past beliefs, our past reality, because otherwise we will have to get adapted to a new reality which is way out of our comfort zone. And this happens without even our own conscious efforts. This is the way that our mind tricks us. We get tricked by our mind, and it finds a lot of ways. A quick example is, if you are too identified with the habit of smoking, and that being a factor to relieve your stress, smoking relieves stress, You might in the beginning know that smoke is actually bad for you, but gradually you get sucked into the belief that it is actually fine. And then your mind starts to tell you that there are a lot of people who smoke and they still don't have cancer, and you'll be sucked into that belief, and you get into some, get your totally different reality that is way out of your the truth. And when certain revelation comes upon you, then you realize that is actually not the case. Now we can bear the truth if we have a strong heart, but if we have an even stronger ego, then we will only deny the truth. That same truth will become the enemy. And it's extremely important for us to always understand that we don't know what we don't know. We really have very insignificant, very tiny knowledge about the world, and that thought and that realization is a very good start towards the path of getting a lot of realizations about life, which is the natural way to get immune to the shocks in life. Which is to say, in other words, that we have to, the best way to get immunity towards shock in life is to voluntarily go through shock in life, because that is much better than receiving the shock when we are not ready for it. That will be more shocking. So by voluntarily going through the shock, I mean to say that we need to seek in life what is my reality, what are the fundamental truths, because we're always influenced by other people. Very rarely do people have control of their own emotions and think for themselves. We are so wired to think from other people's perspectives and stuff. So it is very important for us to start the practice of listening to ourselves deeply. And the best way to do this is to spend time alone in a quiet place, reflecting on our thoughts, reflecting on ourselves, and really start to seek higher truths in life. What is the purpose of life? What really happens after death, if at all there is something after death? Because that is something that always happens to all of us. There is no exception. There's nobody that always lives, but it's all going to happen. But it's very interesting to notice that very few people actually want to know about death, though it is going to happen to everybody. As fundamental and foundational as this, why don't people question? So I'm here to inspire you to question about certain unavoidable things in life, like death, like our perspectives towards life, because death and life, though they may seem contradictory, have very are like intertwined with each other. Just like the saying that goes, the end can be the new beginning. So I hope that this video has gone deep into you. I would like for all of you to look deep inside yourselves and then just stay immune to shocks in life. We might get a lot of it in the next year, and I wish you all a great new year and a happy life. Take care. Cheers.